Hello, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Lauren.
And this is I've Got Guts, a podcast about living and thriving with chronic illness. Let's be real, it is really hard.
But it doesn't have to be. You are not alone.
With this podcast, we want to create a community and a space to be able to talk about the tough stuff
and laugh along the way.
The idea for this podcast stemmed from us trying to find one for ourselves to listen to, but not being able to find anything that didn't make us more sad or frustrated.
Our goal is to talk about the hard stuff, but also talk about how to get through it. Be positive, have a full and productive life, and of course, thrive.
But before we get started, just so we are clear, we are not medical professionals. We are just here sharing our personal experiences.
All right, here we go. Thorns and roses time.
All right. I'll go first. My thorn. This is really a shocker. My body.
No.
Yeah, right? Everybody knows I was sick, so they did put me on an antibiotic.
Yeah, how did that go?
Not great. We're not friends, me and antibiotics. Just the whole experience with it was bad. And actually last Sunday, we came over to your house. We had a really nice big family dinner with our whole family.
How was my sauce?
Your sauce was very impressive.
Thank you.
Very proud
much.
of you.
Thank you. Okay, keep going.
We came home that night. Nothing felt off, but then I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I was puking bile. And it might not have been bile, but it was definitely from all the postnasal drip in combination with the antibiotic, and it was just rough on my stomach. So I was puking for an hour and a half, went back to bed, woke up to get ready for work, instantly start puking up bile again. And so I lost a day, and it sucks when you have to lose a day for that. And then I was supposed to go to an exercise class on Wednesday, even though I totally hate exercising. But
even when you told me that, I'm like, wait, you're going where?
No. My friend Liz was teaching a Pilates class, and I was all ready to go because me and my other coworkers were going to be going together. And then I freaked myself out. So for those of you, I haven't told this story yet for sure, but me and exercise have a sordid history. I tried working out after diagnosis, and anything that involves me laying flat on my stomach or bending over and standing up and stuff like that, it doesn't go well. I puke. So I got all in my head and I'm like, oh my God, I can't go to the class. What if I puke in front of everybody? I know the people I'm with love me, but still if I'm puking. And then I got in my head about it and I freaked myself out and I didn't go to the exercise class.
Oh, bummer. But in a way, it probably wouldn't have been the best because you were just sick,
Yeah, probably not a good time. But yeah, so my thorn in my side this week, my body.
Gotta love it.
How about you?
Well, mine has to do with a tree, specifically my Christmas tree.
Oh boy.
So I love a big bushy tree that's really fat and round and takes up the whole room. And we're in our new house and we have a ton of space, which is great. And our tree is not as big as I was hoping it would be.
Oh, it's huge. It's just
not up to Lauren's standards. Yeah. And I really wanted to go into the forest and cut it down, but time was limited. We went a Friday night, and it's kind of hard to see in the dark, with chopping down a tree. So we picked out a tree, and we got it in the stand, and we got it all situated. And last week when we were decorating, I was not feeling the best. But after we were done, it looks like it's totally crooked, it's like a little arch, but it's not.
It's not crooked. It's just way more fuller on the left side.
So it is. It looks like it's leaning to the left, so it looks like it will appear to fall over, but it's not going to because I think it just has a crooked trunk. But anyway, it's really upsetting me. Every time I look at it, I'm like, it's not straight. It's not straight. It's stressing me out. But so then Sean tried to chop the top, and we just butchered it, and now we just have a Christmas bush that's leaning to one side.
A Christmas bush. It's not a Christmas tree. It's a Christmas bush.
We tried our best, and the angel in the skirt kind of is hiding its flaws.
I was there today, and it really looked very cozy and nice.
Thank you. It's just, I get a little crazy about things looking a certain way.
You like things to look perfect.
So that was my thorn. How about our rose is a shared rose?
We have a shared rose. So our friend Kristen that we went to college with, it was her birthday. Well, it will be her birthday. And she had a party last night in Buffalo. And even though the weather's been crazy, it cleared up and we were able to go.
It was like sunny. I mean, it was cold, but it was sunny and beautiful. We even had our sunglasses on.
I know.
That never happens in Rochester in the winter.
Ever. Yeah, so we went axe throwing.
And I have to say, Rome, I was really impressed with your axe throwing skills. You hit the board almost every time.
Yeah. Oh, you walked away when I hit the bullseye.
I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah.
I was trying so hard to capture the moments.
I think for me, it was like everything that I've been like mad about for 2 months. I was just like, do you take this, you axe? And I just threw it.
You did. I'm like, what is your strategy? Because I literally could not hit it. It would not stick. And then it kept ricocheting back at me and I was getting afraid. And the guy's like, no, it's not going to get you. I'm like, are you sure though?
The best part of the whole thing, and everybody at the party was commenting on this, was your conversation with the instructor guy, because you kept saying to him, you're like, give me some pointers. I'm doing great, right? I'm improving. Do you see improvements? And he just really kept encouraging. And they're like, just the way she goes up to him every time, like, what can I do differently?
I was really trying to get some constructive criticism.
You just kept telling him, you're like, I'm trying my best.
I really was. And I can't believe I didn't hit the target not one time.
Yeah.
But
it was a really fun night, though. Like, I think we went into it a little hesitant. You're like, what the heck? Axe throwing. Yeah. And then we ended up having a blast.
We really did. It was so much fun. It was so good to see Kristen and all of her friends. It was the perfect Saturday night.
Yeah, it was.
If only I hit a bullseye.
Yeah, if only.
Next time.
I hit one for you.
You did. You hit so many. I'm so proud of you.
All right, Room. Let's Achalasia part 2.
Here we go.
This is a big one for you. So
yeah, and we broke it up. Well, I broke it up because I felt like leading up to it was one whole piece, and now we're going to get into the surgery, which is kind of crazy. So, I was diagnosed with achalasia, and I was deciding between my surgery, and I ended up going with the Heller myotomy with fundoplication, and I got it all scheduled. It was January 19th, 2019. So I feel like when I scheduled this, it was like November. So I still had a lot of time.
Yep.
So that anticipation before surgery, especially when you have to schedule it out, it just was like a lot of emotions I was working through.
And I probably wasn't helpful because for 2 months solid, I probably was like, I can't believe you're getting a fundoplication. I can't believe you're getting a fundoplication.
I know. And I weave that into what I want to talk about today because everybody's experiences are so different with surgery and different with different types of surgeries. And, I know I felt the fear that you were having for me because you just went through it and it was tough. It was tough. So, and I just think anytime we're going to make any type of decision, especially like a big one, whether it's surgery or buying a house or moving or changing jobs, it comes charged with a lot of emotions.
Yes.
And that fear of making the wrong decision, right? Or worry of how it will impact others or you. And it can be really overwhelming. And it can also be exciting too when you're making a big decision. Because for me, it was like, okay, hope is on the horizon that I can start swallowing again. But our human instinct is to go and talk it out and ask advice from others, which I'm huge about. And I feel like the power in conversation can be so huge. And I did a lot of talking prior to my surgery with friends and family and just gathering information, weighing my pros and cons. And in the end, like when I look back, I didn't necessarily need to do that. I had the information from my doctors. I had my own research I did, and I knew my body and how I was feeling. And I think something that I've learned is that I have all the answers inside of me of what to do. And so do you. So does everyone, right? And sometimes we feel like we need to rely on others when essentially we can rely on ourselves. Yep. So I didn't need to ask everyone around me their thoughts on, if I should have surgery or not. I just needed to look within, get quiet and listen and allow the answers to come. And I went back and forth, a lot on what I was going to do. There was part of me where I was like, I'm going to cancel the surgery. I'm having a great day.
Yep.
Right? Did you feel that?
I remember the back and forth.
I'm actually cured today.
Yep.
And because I think it was just the fear. And then the next day it would be hard again. And I knew I couldn't go on for another day. It was so painful to swallow food. And it was getting to the point I was barely eating just applesauce or pureed soup. And I would swallow it and it would just sit, that heavy feeling would sit in my chest. Like someone, like an elephant was sitting on you.
Yes.
It was horrific. And my esophagus wasn't moving. And I was so hungry all the time. And that was not a way to live. That was not a way to live. And I barely had any energy to get through the day. I was exhausted from living like this. And all I really wanted was to eat a good meal with a good glass of wine and enjoy it. And, you know, everyone I knew was going to have an opinion about the choices I made or choices that you make with your health. But the only opinion that matters is your own.
That's very true.
Right? You know your body. Always follow your gut. Mm-hmm. Tied in the podcast name today.
Yep.
But this is for me personally, and I know we've talked about meditation before, and it can be challenging, and a lot of people are maybe not all about it, but for me, it's definitely a tool that I've used, and that's where it came into play for me in a huge way. Meditation can radically shift not only how your day goes, but also how you navigate just life as a whole. And it's really, in my mind, it's that moment of stillness, not where you need to like turn off your brain, but a time to focus your mind on what you want to bring into your life. So joy, love, peace, healing, answers. For me, it was like answers. Am I on the right track?
Yeah, that's what you needed in that moment.
I needed that reassurance that I was on the right track, and I wasn't getting it from anyone else. I needed to get it from myself. And you know, when I was meditating, focusing on each breath and just every time I would breathe out, releasing what wasn't serving me and inviting in that energy I wanted to surround me. So I would get still and I would meditate daily leading up to my surgery. And every day I just felt more peace and confidence. And those feelings of peace and confidence were really just confirmation that I was making the right decision. Like I could not go on, you know, the way I was. And I also know how powerful our mind is and that our thoughts truly become our reality. So I could focus on the things that could go wrong with the surgery, or I could pour my energy and thoughts into how it was going to give me my life back. And I would be better than ever afterwards. So I chose to focus on that. And I feel like it served me well because I got up to, you know, a week before surgery and I was feeling good. So I don't know if you had to do this as many days as I did, but 5 days before my surgery, they had me do soft liquid diet. And 5 days is a lot of days. I mean, granted, I was already doing soft, but when it became clear, I was like I don't think I've ever been so hungry. Did they make you go that many days of not eating?
Soft food.
Okay.
They never made me move to a clear
liquid. Yeah, it was just so crazy. So I'm grateful for the family and friends in my life. My in-laws came out from Albany to stay with Connor because Connor was 3 at this point. And, you know, my students at school, because it's January, it's the middle of the school year, you know, they're making me cards and gifts, and my coworkers were just so amazing. And just everybody was just so supportive leading up to it. And I wrote down Don't Wake Daddy. You know the game Don't Wake Daddy?
Yes.
One of my students gave that gift to Connor to play to kind of keep his mind off things. So the night before surgery, we played like 55 rounds of Don't Wake Daddy. I swear I was going under anesthesia during right before the surgery. I'm like dreaming of that
Don't Wake Daddy
popping up. And it is an aggressive, like erect shot out of bed. It is like such a crazy game. And I feel like when we donated all our games, I couldn't part with that one.
No,
it was like a
special memory.
Sometimes we get it out and do a little round of Don't Wake Daddy. But anyway, so got to the night before, played a million rounds of Don't Wake Daddy, got up that morning, and we're in the car, and I bugged out. Like, I bugged out. And I was talking to Sean today about it because I feel like I sort of blocked out a little bit of what I was saying and doing. He was like, you were like, pull over the car. I'm not doing this. I can't do it. What if they ruin my esophagus? Like all of those days and weeks of meditating and all this stuff, it bubbled all up. And I had a holy episode in the car where I gave myself a full-blown panic attack. And after I cried it out a little bit, Sean, you know, soothed me. We got there. He's like, we're going in. Like, you have to do this. And that's when he really is my rock. You know, he knows what I needed to hear and I needed to cry it out. And he also knew that he was going to strap me to a wheelchair and wheel me in there, even if I continued to flip out. So we were getting the surgery either way. But I came across a quote that I wrote in my journal around that time. And it's from Oprah, who is my favorite person ever. And she said, as you walk into what you fear, you should know for sure that your deepest struggle, if you are willing and open, produce your greatest strength. And it's so true, right? It was challenging. It was stressful. It was unknown, but it was going to make me stronger and hopefully make me better. So, and it did. My surgery was a success.
It was.
Everything went perfect. Dr. Jones was amazing. And I ended up being in the hospital for 3 days. They were going to have me only stay for 2, but by the 3rd day, I was not able to manage the pain with the liquid or without the IV pain meds. Yep. So we opted to stay 1 more day because, and this is good for any of you may have surgery on the horizon, you want to keep the pain under control. And if you're in a situation at the hospital where the IV meds are doing that, and then you try the pill and it's not, you're healing, but you're not ready yet. So trust your body, because when you're not feeling that intense pain, your body can do a better job of healing. So
yeah, and don't let them say to you well, you should be better by now. Okay, well, I'm not.
Right,
so
right. Yes, and everybody's bodies are different, and everybody's, journey is different. So you have to embrace that. And I'm so glad I wanted to come home, but I didn't want to come home in pain. I wanted to come home where I knew I could manage it, on my own. So when I came home, I focused on just healing my body, feeling good, feeding my mind. I actually enrolled, this is so me, I enrolled in this course. It was like a personal development course that met once a week for 6 weeks. And it was during my 4 weeks that I was home recovering, because I had to take off 4 weeks from school. And it was just so great. It was just positive stuff. And I was in this course and I loved it. It was really good. And it was on Zoom. So
I love that you did that. When I was recovering from surgery, I binge watched The Crown.
That is a great show.
Gotta love the royal family.
I love it. But I did. I immersed myself in that. And I read some great books, two book recommendations for everybody that I loved. One is, it's called Simple Abundance, a day book of comfort and joy by Sarah Ban Breathnach, if I'm saying it right. Yeah. It was a New York Times bestseller. It was written in 1995, so it is an oldie, but I came across it as a recommendation through the course I was taking. And what I love about it, it's just every day, it's a little quote and a passage. And I just found that very grounding, just to kind of keep me in a positive space. Because let's be real, after surgery, it can get dark. You're laying there, right? You're laying there, you're healing, you don't feel good, and you're alone a lot of the times, right? Your loved ones are back at work, and you're just kind of laying there. So keeping my mind busy was so key. And another book that I read then was called What I Know for Sure, and that's by Oprah Winfrey. That was it's a nice light read, very inspirational. So I had my 4 weeks off from work, and I was getting ready to go back. But then liquid diarrhea hit.
Yeah. Oh,
Do you remember this?
It was bad. And you were panicking because you were I'm supposed to go back to work.
Okay. And this is when I went to what happened to you, how they nicked, your vagus nerve, and it kind of affected all these things. I'm why was I having diarrhea after this surgery? I had no issues with going to the bathroom at all, right? Leading up to, everything was fine. Yep. Even the first week or two, but being on pain meds, I feel definitely can constipate you. So at this point, so at this point I was off. I was just taking liquid children's Tylenol at this point. I didn't have any of the hardcore narcotics anymore. I was able to manage with just Tylenol. And I feel once I made that switch, it was just diarrhea all the time. Right. And I'm do I have a parasite again? Oh my gosh, what's going on? So I had to take an extra 2 weeks off from work until they could figure out why. They could not allow me to go back to work in that state. So I ended up going to the doctor, and it was an easy fix. So somebody who has their gallbladder out, which I do, a lot of times this can happen after gallbladder surgery, where my liver was overproducing bile, and bile acts as a laxative, and it was dumping it into my digestive tract, giving me diarrhea. What's weird is that I was fine after gallbladder surgery, but what my gastroenterologist thinks is that I just having surgery puts your body under stress. And my liver was all crazy and just overproducing bile, thinking I still had a gallbladder, which I didn't. And it was just an easy fix. It's a cholesterol drink. So it's a little powder that I mix every morning with water, and I still do it to this day.
Yep.
And it controls the bile. So
if you don't do it,
if I don't,
it's bad.
It is so bad. It is like horrific and violent. Like, so there have been times where I have them everywhere, in my car, in my desk at work, these packets, in case I ever forget, because it can be really crazy. But so thankfully I got that in my system 2 days later, and I was back to normal. And I was thinking, thank goodness, because I got worried, did something happen during surgery that changed my digestive tract,
Yep. Luckily,
it was something that could be fixed. So overall, I walked out of surgery. I'm on the other side, and I feel like this. I'm going to end my part with a quote. I love my quotes.
This is very Lauren of you.
So me. Okay, so sometimes we get so focused on the difficulty of our climb that we lose sight of being grateful for simply having a mountain to climb. And it's so true. Like, yes, that was a whole upward climb. Like, it was tough and it was crazy. But I'm on the other side, and how many years later, I'm swallowing great. I'm eating great. Normal food. I get a stretching only twice a year.
You do run into difficulties now and then, which you'll get into in some later episodes.
Yes, and I think that those things that kind of those hiccups along the way of having achalasia, knowing how to manage them, and and to make sure that you're getting the food you need and eating and not feeling in pain like I was. So definitely ups and downs, but for the most part, I'm doing wonderful. And I will always be grateful that I did have the mountain to climb, because it really shapes me into who I am today. Yeah. I think when we can look at our situations like that, it puts a nice positive spin on it all. So
now, just listening to you retell the story, I'm thinking, like, here are some key differences as to possibly why your surgery went better than mine.
Yeah.
First of all, you researched your doctor.
Yes.
You felt confident with your doctor, whereas I just went with whatever doctor was recommended to me.
Yeah, yeah.
They automatically gave you 4 weeks off of work.
Yes.
They wanted me to go back after 2 weeks.
Which is crazy.
And I remember this. They gave you liquid narcotic pain medicine, where they gave me pills. And I remember when you got the liquid medicine, and I was like, what the hell? I didn't even know this existed. And you were like, wait, you didn't get liquid medicine? I was like, no, they gave me pills. And you were like, how the hell did you get a pill down?
Right, and swallow it. I couldn't even imagine swallowing a pill down. Yeah. And even Dr. Jones said after surgery, she was like, everything had to be liquid. Like my dicyclomine that I take for my spastic colon, they gave me dicyclomine liquid form. They gave me Tylenol, children's Tylenol liquid form. I mean, I had to take like 19 shots of the children's Tylenol. But
did that do more damage to me?
Right.
Because my body was supposed to be healing, and I'm swallowing these big pills.
Yeah, right.
So just some things to think about. Like, look at the difference. Same surgery. Look at these big differences in how it was handled.
Yeah, and and ask for that too. If you're someone who has any type of swallowing thing going on, ask if your medicine comes in liquid form, because 9 times out of 10 it does. Not all pills, but most do. So advocate for yourself. And because if you think about it, your body, that pill could have been tearing things up for you on the way down, you know? So, but crazy town, crazy. Well, that is the end of my achalasia story and journey. Well, not journey, but story of how I got diagnosed and my surgery. And today I'm excited about what you're talking about, Rome. We have your fertility update, but we also have some listener questions, which we are loving getting.
Yes. Oh my God. Please keep them coming. I love it. So I do have a fertility update. So Aunt Flo came a couple days early.
I'm like, I just looked around. I'm like, Aunt Flo?
Yeah, my period.
Got it.
I typically have like 28-day cycle to a T. And I woke up Thursday. Anthony was like, you can take a pregnancy test on Friday. I woke up Thursday morning and I was like, I'm taking a pregnancy test today. And he let me, and I did. And it was stark white negative. And which was a hard way to start my day. Like, I definitely was not in the best frame of mind going into work or whatever. And then within half an hour of being at work, I get my period. I'm like, oh my God, what the heck? So I immediately emailed the clinic, because the last time I went in, they were like, we need to see you on day 2 of your cycle. So thank God my period came on a Thursday and not a Friday, because then I would have missed a whole cycle just because they're not open on the weekend.
Gosh. Thank you, universe.
Thank you, universe. So they got me in. I did the blood work and I did the ultrasound, and They did say I already had follicles developing, so everything rested on that blood work piece again, which was scary because we walked out of there with like no clear answers. And we did ask, we're like, well, what if and what if and what if? And she was like, we can't rely on the what ifs. We have to just see what the blood work tells us. So we went about our day, and Anthony wasn't even supposed to be able to go to this appointment with me because he had to get like a cortisone shot in his back for, he's having problems with the sciatic nerve right now, but he ended up making it home in time, and he was able to come with me, which, oh my God, thank God. I would have never, I was a mess. I woke up that morning, I was getting upset over the littlest things. It was like, Anthony didn't kiss me goodbye before he left, and then his car was blocking me in. I didn't think I would be able to leave, and I was like, I just sat down on the floor at one point, was hysterically crying. I had like my dog sitting in my lap. I had both cats staring at me like, what are we supposed to do? Oh. So it was just a mess of a morning. So I'm glad that Anthony came with me. So we went about our day, took Anthony to the orthodontist. We got a nice lunch. I went to the DMV to officially change my last name. And then on the way home from the DMV, we get the call. And they were like, your thyroid levels are great. Your estrogen levels are great. We're starting your first medicated cycle tonight. Yay. So we got the instructions in the portal of like what to do. So I'm on like a round of medicine. It's called like letrozole, follistim, which are two things to like kind of overproduce those follicles and the eggs and everything. And then a prednisone, which is a steroid, which I don't love taking, but I understand the goal of trying to reduce that inflammation in your body. And then a baby aspirin and my thyroid medicine and my prenatal. So that's kind of what we're doing now. And then I go in on Monday, and if things are progressing quickly, we might be able to do an IUI this week.
Oh my goodness. This is all around the holidays.
Yeah. So let's hope my body cooperates and we can keep this ball rolling.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited, Rome. This makes my heart so happy.
I know. Me too. It's like, I feel like Anthony and I both feel like the sense of relief, almost like that we're doing something, you know?
Yeah, it's like you're in the next phase. It's something new, right? The pills. It's just
and we have
thing.
like a whole little setup for when he has to give me my injection shot. Like I put on some like Christmas music right now and lay on the bed, and it's a nice little...
Rub you with an alcohol wipe.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
I love it.
So we're making the best of it for sure.
Making the best and making a baby. I love it. Awesome.
All right. So some listener questions that have come my way since we have started this podcast. And there were a lot, so I kind of had to narrow it down to some of them. One I got a few times was, why are all of my stories so intertwined?
It's almost like a rope, right?
Yeah.
And it's all the different threads.
Yours, it was kind of easy to separate because yours was kind of like your body attacking. It would attack one thing, and once you fix that one thing, it would attack the next thing. Mine is more, it's tricky because there was damage done to my vagus nerve. So two things were paralyzed. And so everything kind of plays into it together. And I don't know, like, if I didn't have gastroparesis, would I have gotten thrush in my esophagus? I don't know. You have a paralyzed esophagus and you've never gotten thrush. But could you down the line? Maybe. Like, if I didn't have gastroparesis, would I have gotten IMO? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And that's the reason my stories are also intertwined, because everything kind of, that surgery kind of just mixed everything up, and everything happened so I had gastroparesis, and then I was diagnosed with the ineffective esophageal motility, but then the thrush and the IMO, they came interspersed between everything. So it's hard to know, and I don't really have answers for people like, well, would you have gotten thrush if this, and would you, I don't know. And there's no way to ever know. I don't even know if a doctor would have an answer to those questions.
Because it was just so tricky. And also you're dealing with rare things. Like gastroparesis is rare, right? Like this is not a very well-known research disease.
And my doctors have even said to me, it's hard because they're both rare kind of diseases, and then to combine them, that's even more rare. So it's like the doctors are navigating it with me, not knowing much about it.
Right. All locking arms, trying to uncover it and problem solve together, essentially.
So for those of you who asked that question, I'm right there with you. I would love more answers, and hopefully we can keep spreading awareness for these illnesses, and hopefully more research and more medicine and procedures will come about that will help with some of these things.
Yeah. And speaking of medicine, I know somebody asked about, is it bus bar? Is that my
Bus bar.
Bus bar.
Yeah.
Well, bus bar. So what does that help with?
So Buspar is actually technically an anxiety medicine.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's very new in the use of treating ineffective esophageal motility. But for me, and the reason remember I told you it took me like a year and a half to figure out dosing.
Yes.
The reason I stuck with it is because for me, it reduces the chest pain. I have more of an ease of swallowing. I have less pain with swallowing and a decreased frequency of things getting stuck and reduced spasms. So when you that's a lot.
Yes.
So for me, it was worth it.
Yes, 100%. You're getting so much
They
relief.
do often also want to try amitriptyline, which is fine. I would suggest trying it at least. It didn't work for me. So there are other medicines out there. It's not just Buspar, but because I've gotten a lot of questions about like other medicines and everything. That's the one that works for me.
I love it. And it goes back to finding something. If it doesn't work for you, there's something else out there to keep looking, to keep trying and be patient.
And like I said, give it at least a month.
Yes.
Don't give up after a week.
That's such great advice. Such great advice. Okay, somebody else asked, why do you have to avoid fiber?
So that's specific to gastroparesis. Somebody was like, somebody with swallowing disorder asked me, should I be avoiding fiber? No. The fiber is strictly gastroparesis. Because my stomach can no longer break things down, fiber is really just hard to process.
Right, yeah.
So
it's painful.
It's a gastroparesis only thing.
Well, and it makes sense. So, all right. Okay, this mucus sensation. What are you talking about? What was this?
Someone asked me if I get a globus mucus sensation. So what that is it's like the sensation of having mucus or a lump in your throat when there's nothing there. So it's just like a sensation. And it's a common condition, and it can feel like tightness, pressure, or you have a foreign object in your throat. And other symptoms might be like a feeling of mucus that you can't clear, hoarseness, a chronic cough, a dry or tight throat. Which you experience some of these symptoms too sometimes.
Yes, I do. I get it so bad where I'll sometimes lose my voice because I've got well, essentially it's acid or bile coming up.
So for me, yes, I do get that mostly when I'm sick and for a while after, and if I'm taking an antibiotic. So I've had that sensation recently for the last couple of weeks because I was sick and I was on an antibiotic.
Right.
It's not a constant thing. It comes in waves.
Right.
So.
All right. And I feel like a lot of things, actually, everything comes back to the vagus nerve and the damage that you had. Is that the only, I know somebody asked, is that the only way to get gastroparesis or the
ineffective esophageal motility?
Yes.
So for the gastroparesis, no, that is one way, and it is one of the most common ways that gastroparesis is caused. But another really big thing is diabetes.
Yes.
So people who are prone to diabetes can get gastroparesis. You can get it from a viral infection. Like a lot of post-COVID gastroparesis has been reported, which is scary.
Scary.
Some medications can cause it. Like if people are addicted to opioid pain medications and they're abusing them, they can get gastroparesis.
Oh, yikes.
Obviously, my surgery. So any kind of abdominal surgery that can damage the vagus nerve. It doesn't just have to be a fundoplication. It's happened to people who've gotten their gallbladder out. It's happened to people who've gotten other things, Eating disorders can cause it. So like anorexia or bulimia. Nervous system disorders, so like Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, metabolic disorders, so hypothyroidism can cause it. And like rare conditions too. I'll never say this right. Amyloidosis and scleroderma. scleroderma.
You're
I'm never
brave.
going to say that right.
I don't think I could decode that one.
And then some nutritional deficiencies like vitamin D or B12 or iron deficiencies. So lots of ways gastroparesis. And I've said this before and I'm going to keep saying it. You guys are going to get sick of me. These new weight loss medicines that everybody is taking, Ozempic and Wegovy and all of those, they are causing a huge surge in gastroparesis. And if you've listened to my story at all, losing weight isn't worth getting gastroparesis. It is not worth it. If you have to be on one of those medicines to control your diabetes, that's one thing. But to go on it just to lose weight, to me, for someone who's experiencing gastroparesis, it blows my mind. Really blows my mind.
Crazy town.
Yeah.
Crazy town.
And for the ineffective esophageal motility, who knows?
Yeah.
That one is like really, there's not a ton of research on it. I haven't done a lot of research on it, I should say. There might be research out there. Obviously, damage to the vagus nerve can cause it, but I'm sure there are many other things that can cause it. For you, it was potentially autoimmune that caused achalasia, which is, it's not ineffective esophageal motility, but we both have a motility disorder in our esophagus. And caused by different things.
Right.
So I'm sure just like gastroparesis, there's a whole slew of things that can cause motility problems in your esophagus.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, crazy. Crazy. And great questions too, I feel like.
Well, there was one more.
There was one more.
And I got this a few times, so I wanted to just kind of circle around it a little.
Yeah.
And this was, did the surgeon have any repercussions after my surgery? And the answer is no. And I did meet with a lawyer, and they basically said I signed my life away before that, and it would be really, really, really difficult and really, really, really expensive to get anything from him. I will not say his name. I don't really believe in bringing people down like that.
Yeah.
If someone were to reach out to me and say, I need to get a funded application in Rochester, what surgeon should I avoid? I will tell you for sure. But I'm not going to, slander somebody. I've gone back and forth on if I should let him know about it. And I think someday I will either write a letter or make an appointment and go in there and just tell him, this is what you did to me.
Yeah.
And the way that you handled it was disrespectful and rude and dismissive and not right.
Yeah.
But he doesn't even know right now at this point in time.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy. It's crazy. You'll know. It goes back to what I was saying before too, is you'll know when it's right and if it's right, and to have that conversation or let him know.
My heart will tell me when it's the right time.
Your heart?
Or actually, my gut will tell me.
I was just going to be your heart or your gut. That intuition for sure. So, all
right.
Well, that was a great way to close out our Sunday. Today is Sunday when we're recording this. So thank you for listening. And we really appreciate likes, follows, and reviews wherever you listen to your podcasts.
And you can find us at I've Got Guts Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And you could email us at I'veGotGutsPodcast@gmail.com. Please keep those questions coming. We're loving them.
Yeah, we love them. All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.